Welcome in, everyone. My name is Gracey. I'm joined by the incredible Mariah. If you guys are not aware, we just launched a magazine. Mariah, how the hell are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I feel actually so energized, especially by this edition. Like I was reading through it again. I was like, the features, the cover, freaking everything is just I love it. Like I said, I tweeted this yesterday. It was so delicious. It just feels like juicy, you
It
know?
does. And there's not even like fruit on the cover this time. It is simply me,
Just your
the
beauty.
fruit.
Yeah,
So,
truly.
we are debuting this magazine. I'm so excited to have this. This is the final edition of The Northern. We started with this springtime. It's very dark, very like, okay, light is slowly creeping in. And then the difference from spring to winter has just been super fun. I think like my other favorite part is just seeing the inspiration on the inside. You were
Yeah.
mentioning earlier that you got to see the PDF with the side by side, and it's like, oh, that's exactly what you guys are going for. I'm so here
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. And you can see them and like I love it. That's on my Instagram story. If anybody follows me on Instagram, you can see both of them, but download it, love it. And especially like I don't know, I feel like our interviews this time are just so special.
They are. And what was your inspiration for interviewing Leighton? Because I feel like we all know and love her from Twitter, and we get to see her incredibly like intrinsic, depth-filled
Mhm.
observations,
Yeah.
insights. I mean, there's just so much about her that it's like, where do you even start? I mean, escaping a cult, detransitioning, refinding her feminine energy. It's just so powerful.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I remember when we were texting about it, and I was like, I don't know who to feature. And then I literally at the same time, we were both like, Leighton?
Leighton!
I
Leighton!
literally, I think like that's how we figured it out is we had a download, both of us,
Yes!
where we were like, Leighton.
This is the
And
only answer.
yeah, legit. And so, I mean, like we literally texted that at the same time. So that was really cool. Number one. Number two, I mean, because I found her when she started sharing about her detransitioning journey. So I, because I'm so like devoted to the goddess, I was like, well, being a woman and then taking hormones that she was coerced into, like this is what she shares about, right? To be a man and then to then go back out of that and become, I mean, who she's always been, which is this glowing, beautiful woman. Like that is such a story and a journey. And besides that, right, like she left a college, she's got all these other things that have happened to her, which are just crazy. Like you would look at her and you'd be like, oh, that's like a beautiful angel. Like she hasn't been through anything, like she's just glowing and innocent and all that stuff. And it's not that she's not innocent, but she's been through so much, right? Like she's seen so much. And just to hear what that was like, that was my main focus was like change your we have enough hormones as it is as women and like birth control and stuff like that, but to be taking testosterone and then go off of it again is like, to me that's whoa. And she shares about it because she was coerced and she doesn't want that to happen to anybody else, and she's literally been canceled. Like the Daily Mail was writing about her. Like it was this huge thing and she had to go offline for a while. And she's been through other stuff as well, but I was like, holy shit, like that. I mean, everybody's been through stuff, right? But like,
That is definitely, I feel like, takes the cake as far as your feminine journey too, because there's
yeah.
people like that have gone through the masculine chemicalization process
Mhm.
through, I would say, alchemy almost, through situational things where, as someone that worked in oil, sports, and then sports media, I'm like, I was just surrounded by men, and I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of those masculine barbs just kind of like stuck into me, and really removing yourself from the things that are no longer you, whether it's from detransitioning, whether it's from being in a place that doesn't really fit who you are, who you want to be, who you strive to be, and it's just not fitting anymore. You have to go back to your original self. And the fact that our name on Twitter is Original
I
Angel, I
know.
think that's just so
Yeah.
perfect. It's like feeling the truth and authenticity that runs through your veins. And when she said that she just knew all along she was a woman and that she had had just completely dissociated from parts of herself that were really huge parts of herself. I feel like that's something that a lot of women kind of in general, whether, they've been through the transitioning process, which I don't think a lot of people have detransitioned from that. I haven't heard
No.
very many. And I think it's incredible when people share that side of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's so, I mean, my, one of my biggest focuses that like I really wanted to understand from her was like, what would you tell somebody, a young woman who is, and I, in the article I put like prefrontal lobe, like under 25, that is
Yeah,
maybe being coerced, right? Like, or even younger, and that's the issue, is that it's happening like very, very young, before these women can, and you mean, I'm sure there are women that transition before and it's what they were meant to do, and right, like
absolutely.
that's just right, but it wasn't in her case. And I've heard of other detransitioning stories before that, like, it happens and it comes up because there are doctors and therapists out there that are not treating the whole being. They're just saying, oh, this isn't right, so you need to become this other person and then it'll be right, but you don't know what kind of deals they're getting to push this medication,
Right.
right? Like that's my biggest thing with doctors, is like, yes, they can be helpful, and yes, we need medical help and at points, but it's important to remember that doctors get paid to push certain medications, and that's why they are pushed at points on certain people, right? When it's like, okay, well, maybe it's something that you do when you're 25 and older or whatever, and until then you do everything else that is not the actual chemical changes of changing your physical body until you know that you want it for sure. But like, whatever, what can I say? But I haven't been through that. But to
No,
hear Leighton and what she says about having gone through it and been like, no, like, this child is, they're probably looking for some sort of outlet, right? Or looking to be heard and understood, and not necessarily change it, like who they are hormonally, right?
completely. And I
And
think there is
yeah,
that difference between people who truly feel like they are in the wrong body and get that affirming care and are able to stay that way for the rest of their life. I have so many friends that have transitioned, and it's like, okay, that's amazing because I get to see who you truly have felt like
yeah,
all along. And
yeah,
that to me
yeah,
is like a lot different than when you see people that are maybe younger, like you said, prefrontal lobe. And to me, anyone under 29 is a baby. Like,
yeah.
you haven't even experienced a Saturn return, get out of here, that kind of feeling. You just recently have been wrapping up your Saturn return. Saturn will be
Yeah.
out of Pisces in, of course, right around Valentine's Day. So that'll be a fun, spicy Valentine's Day. But, you've talked a lot about it, but it's like those years, I feel like if I would have been let to do whatever I wanted up until um, 29, then I would have just been a complete tornado. But around 28,
Yeah.
Saturn started getting me. It was definitely a coming of age. Mine was in my sixth house, so it was very, very much the medical stuff. Like you mentioned, doctors prescribing things because they're paid to. That's exactly what happened in my Saturn return. So part
Yeah.
of reading Leighton's story is like the medical community, whether it is the psychology, psychiatry part, whether it's the, prescriptions and prescribing things with primary care doctors or specialists, the ethics, I feel like, are going to be something that we see with the end of Saturn and Pisces. We're going to be seeing people having medical distrust. And I think that's a big part of that last push of Saturn and Pisces. We're going to be seeing, like, even at the doctor, I took my dad on Monday and three different people are like, do you want a flu shot? And I'm like, bro, go away. Like, he's 75. He's old
Yeah.
enough to where if he gets the flu, yes, I understand the ramifications, but like there's so much natural immunity I would rather go for, and
Yeah.
especially just taking care of him and seeing all the things. So I really enjoyed knowing that there's people out there that have been through it and have also gone through. I mean, I think this is way heightened elevation from what I went through my Saturn return, of course. And to have Leighton's story just be so open and authentic, especially about the mysticism part, because I, wonder with the women's intuition and then going on all those, was there that disruption? Like, was there that disconnect? Because I feel like 100% that's the thing that women are just known for. We have this divine intuition, and men run by the sun, that 24-hour solar energy cycle. And then we have this whole different cycle. And like, what in the world do we do when it's like, okay, our creativity is fucked with, our livelihood is fucked with, and it's all
Mhm.
coming from inside? I feel like that's when you have to stop and pause and really go into that place of going internally and saying, is this the path that I truly want to be on? And that is a hard thing to do.
Mhm. And making the change. Because that's the thing I see, people struggle with on even the most basic things. And it's literally a matter of changing and understanding that life does change at points,
It
and
does.
you can make the decision to change your whole shit around, or maybe just make a small tweak this way or that way, or leave a certain relationship that's not working for you, or right, like I think that's a big one, especially for women, like and this doesn't have anything to do with Leighton, but I think that probably most women have been through a shitty relationship, and it's about that decision of like, oh my god, I need to leave, and then actually doing it, because the doing it is, and actually, you know what, Leighton did say in her article about the cult that being in the cult was, not as hard as leaving it. It's I cannot even imagine, because leaving a cult like that would be like leaving an abusive relationship. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's your sense of reality is screwed with, you're not going to have the same people, and she left the cult with her now wife. So that's like the most, I think, one of the most beautiful things, like stories that can really be told, is having that love for another person and making the decision together to be like, okay, we're getting the fuck out of here,
Absolutely.
and
And
it's
the
just
religious
like,
pressures is something that we talked about in Winter Solstice, especially with the astrology article talking about the fact that a lot of these times we're all growing up with these like larger than life pressures of, if you eat from this candy jar, you will go to hell. If you look at this magazine cover, you're going to hell. If you think about things, good news, going to hell. Like,
yeah.
growing up with that. And I don't think it's really just Christianity. There's so many things that are controlling in organized religion to begin with, and part of that kind of detachment from it is seeing the cycles of nature. And this winter solstice is about going into that silence, going into that unknown, and we get to. I mean, this is the first time in 11 years. 11 years that I have not been working the Chiefs off season. Normally I'm doing a sports astrology show every Sunday morning, so this is definitely a little bit different, but this is the first time that I'm not going to be working in January. I don't have a book coming out on the 1st, so that's a huge huge shift from last year. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait, I
that was
actually get
big.
to spend
Yeah.
the holidays with my family. That's so strange.
Oh, yay.
But it's just like it's so much about, we have all this time and we have all this ability to go into that mysticism part of humanity that I kind of feel like is lost. How are you feeling about mysticism in modern world?
I mean, it's something, again, that's a choice and a decision to incorporate into your daily life, and something that I've really been playing with lately is not only like, okay, we can agree that there's energy all around us that is just sitting and floating in the air, and humans give off more energy, etc. But what I've been playing with is just using that energy that's all around me and bringing it into my field and incorporating it and using it. And that's kind of what I've been doing since about June, off and on. And then more recently, and this is what I included in my little editor's note, was, I mean, at the most basic level, it's saying nice things to yourself about yourself. But and this is what I've recommended to people, is just like spend some time in silence, especially now, and connect with your loving guides, ancestors, your preferred divinity. For me, it's Earth and my loving ancestors, and ask for an affirmation that's going to move you forward. And this was something, when did I do this? I don't know, maybe October, I think, ish. and they gave me the affirmation that was I am the best. And like I rejected
Yes.
it at first. I was like, why? I'm not the best, you know, like why, what? And then they were just like, baby girl trusted us. And I was like, okay, I guess. And then I allowed that, and I had to work on it. I allowed that to be my dominant thought for like October, November, kind of those couple months. And I would really lock in and hone in on that. And then for, 10 minutes a day, more or less, I would just repeat that to myself, because what was going on in my brain was not bad. It was, something bad was going to happen. The other shoe was going to drop, yada, yada. And like I said, at first I rejected it. I was like, because it does sound very egoic. And like, I understand that you're like, I'm the best. Like, oh my God, like that's not, you're not humble at all. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you have one life. You should not be humble. Like, you obviously need to be decent and nice to everybody else, but you can also think that you're the best. And I think the crux and like the most beautiful nugget of I am the best that really unfolded for me was I didn't even know what I could be the best at. And I didn't even know what the best looked like for me. I didn't know that I could be in, better shape just by thinking better thoughts about myself, and I could look better, I could be thought of better, like all of these things that I didn't even consider because I had just rejected it right away, and then I started to trust it. And then yeah, I mean, this is when I was really honing in on this and locking in on this was when I popped up in your conversation with Kelly and was like, no, like, oh, I need somebody to lift a curse. Oh, Mariah's the best.
That's
Mariah's the
literally
best one
all
to
I
go
could
to
think
for it.
of. And, it's not that I have like 400 different witches on standby to just be like, which one do I go through?
Yeah.
I sat there for a second and I'm like, the only person that I can think of for this job is Mariah. She is the most, I think, gregarious. You go out of your way to just be this charming and fun person to be around. Not that I've been around you in person. We still are
I
these
know.
Canadian versus Kansas, very close in nature. It starts the same.
Yeah.
But it's like I can tell that you're just such a magnetic person, and if that's only growing, like I can't imagine where you're going to be next year, right? Like where is this taking us? One, I think you got to come to Kansas for a football
I know.
game. Like
Yeah.
that is
I do.
definitely on the agenda for next year.
Yeah.
And if you
Absolutely.
guys don't know what happened, you do have a video on your YouTube talking about the entire lore of the K-State witch, but you like came out of, I would say, a really weird time in the football season. It's like right towards the end. Basketball had started up, and I was like, maybe it's for all of K-State sports. Maybe that's what we're doing here. And so basketball started being like, okay, maybe I'll start watching that too. And I cannot watch college basketball. I'm trying. I used to. I spent so long, but now that I've seen like professional athletes, and the Chiefs have honestly ruined football for me, watching college sports was kind of like, oh, okay. So the first time that I had seen anything about K-State was like, oh, they're going to be playing Colorado. And I was like, this is going to be the big moment. And if they win, they can be bowl eligible. This will be huge. And that's what I was
Mhm.
telling you is like, I think this will be because of the bowl game. Like, if they win the bowl game and
Yeah.
that breaks the curse, right?
Well, and I was like, I don't know. I have
Because I
no
mean, if
idea.
you want to talk about me not paying attention to K-State football for the last few years, you have never paid attention to
Never
it.
heard of it. Literally, I had to ask Kelly. I was like, can you send me like a website link or something so I make sure that like I'm focused on the right thing? Because other like I had no idea. No idea.
And that's like part of the charm too. I was just like, there's so many reasons why this is gonna work, and the number one reason was because it's you. And to go into something, you've done Reiki healing for me, and it's been from a distance, of course, but that type of power where you are able to, I mean, you picked up on things that I hadn't even told you about. And I was like, okay, well, this is definitely incredible. So to have that experience already, to be able to be like, yes, need to go see Mariah and then have it all work out. What ended up happening is that the head coach that had been there came from winning 2 national championships. They brought him to K-State for the last 7 years. And honestly, I haven't paid attention to it the entire time he's been there. Maybe it's just like a blind spot for me. I have no idea. But when he's like, hey, I'm retiring, it wasn't just, hey, I'm retiring. It was, hey, I'm retiring. And then the next thing you know, Colin Klein, the greatest quarterback in K-State history, besides Michael Bishop, uh, is now going to be head coach. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
Mariah did that.
Well, and you know what? Like, it was funny because it came up in the reading, and like, I should go back and like, we should watch the video again, but because there's probably more things. So it's
For
like as
sure.
time has gone on, it's, you know, because that's my thing too. When I'm doing a reading or Reiki for somebody, it doesn't mean anything to me. It's like I'm just kind of talking, right? Like, and it's I describe it before. It's like I'm trying to describe like a dream that we're both in, and maybe it's more meaningful to you in this way, and to me it's just like a symbol or whatever. But um I do remember that I focus on the coach, and I remember the main, like, kind of the beginning of the tarot reading that I did was that the King of Wands was covered by the Hierophant. So it's like the Hierophant is the old coach making way for, you know, King of Wands would, I would say now that's Colin Klein. Um, but like as I was reading it, I was like, there's, you know, there's kind of maybe an old coach here that is going to have a come to Jesus moment or whatever. And my thing was like, okay, well, maybe they need to listen to their coach, and, you know, whatever. And there was a part of it where I know that the team had a meeting with their coach, like the older coach, and then they all came out of it, and you could kind of see, I think there were photos of them coming out, and they looked like kind of excited, but they couldn't really say anything yet. um, and then to have everybody like so excited about Colin Klein, I was like, great. And he looks like the King of Wands, you know, and there was something like that definitely came through. And it was, the main theme of it was the Six of Cups, and treating each other like loving siblings. Like, I remember that came up, was like, a, you know, they're a team, but there really is this focus on family with this team, which I didn't know about. And that came up in the reading, where it was like, no, you guys need to like really get back to that. And not that, I mean, I don't know if they've swayed so much, or I have no idea, right? But it's the idea that they're coming together like as bros, you know, and maybe they'll even feel a closer camaraderie to Colin Klein, because I think that they probably will. They're all like, I mean, they're all closer in age. What, he's like almost 40, something like that.
Yeah.
And you know, these are college kids, so they're not quite, but they're closer than the last
We've
coach,
had
and you know,
just
and they
old
all
as
have high
shit football
respect.
coaches. So it's been Bill
Yeah.
Snyder, who is basically 90, then Chris Kleiman. And this is the youngest I think we've had in a very, very long time, for
Yeah,
sure.
I feel like once I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, like these guys are not only going to be inspired by him, but I think they're really going to have like a lot more closeness as a team, because also, like you said, he was on the team like not even that long ago, right? Like, so it was really cool to me. And then to like see, because Kelly was talking about it, right? And then to see all of these sports bros be like, oh my God, the K-State witch, the K-State witch, the K-State witch. And I was like, you know, I just kept like screenshotting all these tweets. So like a lot of them are in the video that
Yeah.
I made that's on my YouTube. It's also my pinned on my Twitter profile, so you can check it out
Hell
there.
yes.
But like they just kept coming, and I was like,
I
this
mean,
is
in the
hilarious.
Bible Belt, this is a huge accomplishment, okay? Like, I remember still to this day, the first time I met Kelly's aunt that lives in Manhattan, Kansas, where K State is. And I got out of the car and I just said, "What the fuck is up?" And she's like, "Do not cuss at my house." And I'm like, there are still
Naughty,
people
naughty.
that live
Yeah,
like that? Okay, that's crazy. Sure, no problem. My bad. But it
yeah.
very much is like, we don't do that. And like, they started selling beer in the stadium not that long ago, and it was like not a problem, but a lot of people were like, this is just going to encourage drinking more. I'm like, that's kind of the point. But
Isn't that what you do at a football game?
yeah, especially college football. Like college
Yeah.
years, there was a picture of me with a handle of Hennessy that I couldn't open quickly enough, so I broke it off on a tailgate of a truck. It was like glass shards naturally,
Atta
and
girl.
then I would just have to
Yeah.
pour into a cup. And I had never drank Hennessy before, but I found a handle at my house, and I'm like, let's go. This is what we're gonna do today, and that's college
That's
football. So I'm like, I don't know if you can tame it at all. But I don't think anyone wants to tame it. I just think they want it to be great and awesome and fun to watch. And if you have gotten rid of that Irish curse that was causing a problem. I know that it got Nebraska football and it got Florida State football. So we had
Wow.
to avoid being one of them because Nebraska used to be this huge powerhouse like in the 90s, and Florida State did too, and now they're terrible. They're a joke, and they have these huge stadiums, like hundreds of thousands of people, and they're ass. And it's like that's the exact opposite of what you want. So if it's the disrespect that the teams came in with, if it's the land spirits that followed them over to Ireland, I don't know what it is. K-State and Manhattan area has always been this beautiful prairie, so I don't think that people are really having anything like negative, I feel like, attached to them.
Yeah.
But it can be just energy left over from past coaches, past seasons, and everything that you mentioned. So I'm really excited. Like, this is the first time I've been excited for K-State football in a long time, and I definitely think it's up to you and Kelly for causing that.
Yeah, it was so fun. And I mean, for me, because I didn't know about the bowl, or and then all that other stuff, I was like, I don't really know what's happening. So I remember I started the ritual on a Tuesday, and then I had officially ended it on a Friday, and then also on the Saturday, because I kind of did two parts, like one about the curse and one about the team.
Wow.
And I remember like that because I knew they were playing that Saturday. And so I was like, come on, like all I care is that they win this game. And then they did. And you know what? And I checked the score at I don't know what you call it in football, like halftime. Yeah, halftime.
Yep, you got it.
Halftime, midway,
Nailed
halftime,
it.
whatever. Yeah. And it was 7-7. And I was like, oh my God. But I seeing that as like a double number two was like also a confirmation for me, where I was like, no, they're gonna win. Like they're gonna win. And
I
then
think
I
like right
checked
after
it
that
later.
they scored a touchdown and then just started dominating too. So that's even
Yeah.
better that you saw it at halftime and you're like, oh, they got this.
Yeah, I was like 7-7, they're gonna win. This is not a problem. And I was with my family. I think we were about to go out to dinner or something.
And you're
And
just
I
frantically
was,
checking Kansas football.
you know
Casey.
what? I was with my grandma like while this was, because I checked the halftime, I think, before I went in to see her, and the service is shit in there. Like
Of
for
course.
some reason in that building, like you cannot get service. So I wasn't checking. So I was hanging out with my grandma too and my brother. So I'm like, I'm not gonna be on my phone the whole
Yeah.
time. And um I went to check it again when I was like with my mom and my brother, like because we were about to go out for dinner, and I saw the score and the game ended, and I was like, yeah.
We
And my
did
mom was like,
it.
what? And my brother was like, what? Because I had told my brother, I was like, oh my God, like before, I was like, oh my God, it's 7-7. But I can't tell you what this means yet because I don't want to
I
explain
don't want
anything
to.
right now. Yeah. And then, yeah, I just remember like going to dinner. I was so happy. I was like, yes. Because for me, that was enough. I was like, they win the next game, done and dusted,
Yeah,
perfect.
it's
And
that's exactly
then,
what we wanted.
yeah, that's what I wanted. And then to get this new coach, I think it just, once that happened, I was like, oh, like he was the King of Wands, covered by the Hierophant. And then, I'll have to go back and watch the rest of it too. But I remember the emphasis on family
Yep.
and the emphasis on like these young men using that youthful action energy again. And I think a lot of that is going to come from Colin Klein for sure.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. And if you guys are just tuning in, we are talking about the winter solstice and our connection here. This is Mariah. She is part of the Northern Magazine, our editor. And you also had a really cool article. I know you mentioned the I Am the Best connection, but like having the article with not only Leighton and doing that interview where you feature a different creator each and every issue, having an ability to just kind of like keep people updated with what you're up to, I feel like that's our mystical moments and the mystical musings. And what you're able to do with your writing is just so much fun. And I found this issue really cathartic in a way.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a lot of release happening, a lot of, okay, I'm going to tell stories. I'm going to come to terms with the fact that I am a mystic. And it's not the mystic in the sense that Leighton's a mystic. It's like we all have our own mystic life, and it can be whatever you make of it. I
Yeah.
had to even be reminded by you this fall that, like, yes, I'm mystic enough when I start talking to you, the crows show up. When I'm out doing things, or when I need confirmation, they'll show up. Or this summer was kind of wild. I was feeding all types of birds in my yard, and then I had a hawk constantly showing up, and one of the hawks ate one of my doves. It was a very violent
Oh
situation, but I'm like, this is also nature. This is also part
no.
of the process.
Yeah,
Like,
you're like, okay.
sorry about that. I didn't mean to make you a
He's
giant target, but here we are.
mm,
So it's like, I feel like there's just so much that you can get from the writing process. And what is like your favorite part about doing the magazine each quarter? Like, do you have like, okay, I know the layouts are fun because I like messing with all the pictures and stuff, but do you like to find the topic? Do you like to just start, brainstorming? What is your favorite process?
my favorite process, honestly, I'm the editor and it is editing because I get to like closely look through all the things that you've done and go through and read it all very very carefully, like because if I was somebody and I was just downloading the magazine, like I know that it would take me a few times to read everything because I would like open it, maybe run an article and then go do something and then read another one in there. But as the editor, like I'm going through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and I learned so much about you, which I think is cool and amazing. And I love your publisher's note because I always learn something cool about you that like maybe you shared with me briefly or you didn't like quite share with me yet. But your little anecdote about your brother that had passed was like really like it stayed with me,
Aw.
and you tied it in to your other article with Van Gogh, and I thought that was really special as well. And just yeah, I mean, I think that's my favorite part is just reading what you've done and what
Thank
you're going
you.
through as well, because I know the stuff that I write, right? And so but I like to reflect on my time between each edition as well, and that's probably, obviously I like to find somebody fabulous to interview and get to ask them like the questions that I want to know. And specifically because like I ask these questions that are fairly, a little more open-ended, where they can kind of, take it where they want to, but it's stuff that I'm interested in knowing. And the questions that you asked Empress Atlantis is also stuff that I was interested in knowing. And reading through her interview was crazy, and the
Incredible.
stuff that she's
She's
been through,
and when
again, another
artists
freaking powerhouse.
when artists really get together, I think that's what it's all about. Like, it doesn't matter if you're painting, it doesn't matter if you're sculpting, doesn't matter if you're a dancer, it doesn't matter if you're a writer. Whatever type of art that you choose to create is so important. And like, if I could feature every single person that I've ever come in contact with that I found interesting on the internet, I will. Like, that is probably my goal,
That's
is
what we're
to
doing.
yeah, I'm like, look, I found you
Yeah.
interesting once. Please talk to me more. Thank you. And
Mm-hmm.
approaching people like that, it is pretty humbling to be like, hey, I really like what you do. I admire it to the point where I want to write about it and feature
Yeah.
you. And that, I think, is what we're doing is all about, because not only is it a magazine, I mean, honestly, the magazine was started because I was annoyed as shit with a person that I was working with, and I'm like, you are slowing me down, I'm gonna get rid of you and watch what I can create. And that's essentially what happened.
Yeah.
But like, that's the Aries in me. I will always be like, let's go, but you have an Aries moon, so we both have this type of get up and go energy, and the type of fieriness that it takes to really bring something new to life. You being Sagittarius, this being done with ninth house publishing. I just simply have a ninth house stellium in Pisces. You are a ninth houser with that Sagittarius sun, and there's so much more obviously in your chart that would dictate your belonging here in the ninth house publishing group. But honestly, the fact that it's so in motion and you keep doing what you've been doing and you don't let anyone stop you, no one can come along and be like, you're a witch and you're saying things that go
Yes,
against
sir.
my old book. And you're like, yeah, and
Yeah.
what
What
about
about
it?
it? Literally. Like my thing lately, it has been because I get stupid comments all the time on my YouTube or TikTok or whatever. And my favorite thing now is like, tag me in the video that you make about it. Literally. because they're not going to make a video
No,
because
no way.
they're behind an anonymous thing, whatever. But at the same time, like I'm encouraging them to create something and tag me because I'm going to comment the same bullshit on
Yeah.
you.
Well, actually, here I am. I'm going to
Yeah.
correct you on everything now.
Yeah. Well, this isn't la, 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 and I'm like, well, then make your own video and tag me. And at the end of the day, I probably wouldn't say anything. I would just be like, thank you for making a video because everybody has different opinions,
Yes.
but
Yes.
you and I can both agree that it takes more balls than people think to actually do something, to show your real face and do something and
Yeah.
show your full name, have your birth chart out there, like all of these things. It's not for the weak,
No.
you know?
And people who are afraid of that kind of stuff, I totally get it. There are
Yeah.
times where I think when I first got into the astrology community and the spiritual community, that I was in either a meme account or like an anonymous account, or I was just my old sports media personality account, which was quite volatile, yet I loved it. And there's something spiritual about rage too. There's something that can be found in any emotion. So I feel like sometimes people limit themselves with the, if I'm spiritual, I need to wear a white veil and cover my whole body and make sure that I am pristine and don't drink, don't smoke, do what. I mean, I didn't bring a joint on because I was like, I think I want to smoke it later. But that's the only reason why. It's not because I'm sitting here like, I must be professional. It's like there
Yeah.
are places for everyone. There are places where artists of all types and with all beliefs and all viewpoints, because that's the thing, both Leighton and Empress, which her name is Nicole, but we're always going to call her Empress.
Yeah.
Sorry about it.
She's the Empress.
Not sorry
Yeah.
at all. She's such a ball of light. And like,
Yeah.
even after reading their answers and reading their responses and reading their stories more, all I could think of, like, these are artists. These are unapologetic, zero fear. And there's been people that have tried to take advantage of these people and be like, well, since you are this, we're going to tell you that you have to confine to these beliefs in order to do further things, or you have to be a part of our little group, or else we're not going to be a part of yours. Like, very weird tit for tat kind of things. And that's what I experienced a lot in the beginning of my spiritual journey, was like a lot of wannabe gurus trying to come along and be like, you're not an influencer. You need to be quiet for a couple more years. You're not this. You should stop wearing makeup. And I'm just sitting here like, where do you guys get off giving this horrible advice, honestly? If someone was like, I'm doing a live show, and the first thing I said to them was, don't wear makeup, that to me is like some sort of jealous Igor that's just like, back in the background, like, I don't want you to succeed. Very weird energy. And that's never the type of energy that we have.
Specific too.
Like,
Yeah.
it is very specific. And I hope this person has the day that they deserve. Let's just put it that way.
For that.
People like that, like, you just can't get through to them the power of connection because they don't have that, or they don't feel that. With you and I think it happened so organically that I'm like, I think I'm going to start a magazine. Do you want to write in it? And you're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I think I need an editor.
Sure.
I'm like, I don't think that this, I think I was adding random pages and things, or like forgetting to delete them. And then you're just like, very kindly, we're like, I could also edit more if needed. And I'm like, oh, this would be incredible. But like,
Yeah.
that type of collaboration is what I think more people will be doing in 2026. I look forward to that type of fearlessness and that type of courageousness it takes to put yourself out there, because it is a lot.
Yeah. To put yourself out there and then like stick to it. That is like the biggest thing, I think, for anybody, really, because you can put yourself out there and then you get the haters and you get people who are, telling you what to do, or you should do this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, you don't have to listen to them. And that's the biggest thing, especially because I can understand why most people would be afraid of getting like bad comments and stuff like that, or their stuff reposted and shit talked about them. Like, I understand it. It's not nice. But like, and you know what? I watched one of Leighton's videos about this because she's literally, honestly, people have tried to cancel her for her detransitioning stuff. And
That's
like,
insane.
so she made a TikTok, and she's got a great TikTok. I think it's still, actually, no, I think it's Psychic Somatics
Okay.
on TikTok. But she's got a video on there that's like, if you come out and you have an opinion, like there are probably going to be people that are going to try to cancel you. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have an opinion. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't talk about things. It just means like you're getting out there enough, you know, like not everybody is going to agree with you. And the more that you use your voice, the more likely it is that these things are going to happen, but it's not bad. Like it doesn't feel good, that's for sure. But you know, like if you really put yourself out there, especially now on the internet, like everybody has access to being seen, there's going to be people that are like, oh, fuck this person, like, and it's like they're going to say that to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. They just want somebody to be angry at because they don't have the wherewithal to come on the internet and show their face and do the same thing. And it's probably because they actually want to do the same thing, that they feel so passionate about what you're doing. And you know what, like even Lady D tweeted where she was like, I don't remember it exactly, but she's been tweeting like these epic bangers in all
Oh,
caps lately. And
her all caps tweets speak to my Aries so
I
hard.
know,
I'm like,
yes.
like.
And the one that like stuck with me again was it doesn't matter if you talk about me, just don't leave out the part where you were inspired. And I'm like, yeah, like talk your shit, but like at the same time, like you're talking about me, aren't you? Like you're talking about me, right?
Again.
Like, and you know what, and that's something too that I've been playing with, especially with scaling visibility. And I don't know if you can relate to this at all, but there is going to be more eyes on you and more energy in your field, and you can use that energy and alchemize it into your core and your field and allow it to increase your visibility even more, allow it to increase your personal harmony, your money, your beauty, all of these things, because it's very potent energy to have people projecting onto you. Like that's good loosh. And
It's
like
crazy the way that people just offer that too. Like to spend like I purposely go out of my way, because probably for a long time I did the opposite. I purposely go out of my way on YouTube and Instagram to go and watch shorts, leave comments that are encouraging, leave comments
yeah.
that are helpful. I
Mhm.
most of the time I'm talking about astrology. Like, do you have Gemini placements? Anytime I see Sagittarius energy, like a travel show or somebody getting into the most crazy travel situation, I'm like, where's Sagittarius in your chart? I gotta know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And things like that, because it's mostly I'm nosy, right? So like
Yeah,
this
I love
magazine
that.
kind of fulfills my nosiness, because
Yeah.
the past Shadonis we had, I've always been curious about how she does everything that she does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having Georgina Rose in and having her be part of, she just launched her publishing house today. And it's
Yes.
like, that's the type of energy we need to bring into this world, is more
Literally.
people that are in motion. And that's the
Yeah.
part with living with purpose. I know a lot of people living with purpose, yet they're not creating like these people are creating.
Yeah.
And to know that all these people that we feature are part of this. It's like Laura Matsu was part of the series too, and she's a very outspoken individual that says all the things on her mind, especially talking about the energy looshing stuff too. Her and her husband talking about the podcast with all of their incredible insights and everything on the spiritual warfare that's going on. Um,
Mhm.
in realms that we cannot see but we know exist and we know are there. And that's kind of the part of Winter Solstice too. It's like it is the longest and darkest night, but on the other side of that dark night of the soul that we always talk about, Thomas More's book kind of changed my life, because I read it on a very dark night of the soul, and I'm like, oh my god, this is everything I've been going through. And when you have those moments where you come out lighter and brighter, it is because you go to those depths.
Yeah.
um, and sometimes these articles and the topics that we cover do cause us to face more of our depths, even as the people asking the questions.
Yeah. And that too, like especially this time of year, it's something that I mean, I just made a little TikTok about this too because I think it's very important. I tweeted about it, but like with all the Epstein stuff coming
Oh
out,
yeah, I
like
saw that like there's an AI chatbot. I think I saw that this morning that you shared. That's like now, hey, let me correct you on this Epstein file
yeah,
breakdown. I'm like,
yeah.
oh god.
Yeah, I think what those people are doing with the coding, and like they call it J Suite, which I think is so fucking funny, and like the concept of it, and Gmail and Gemini and all these things,
And the
like
fact that like Epstein's just out here using Hotmail and Gmail, by the way, that's the funniest shit that like I'd ever seen. Like those email
it's because
addresses, I'm like, JE Vacations, like that at
yeah,
Gmail, like this sounds like a travel agent.
yeah, it's because they don't give a fuck and they don't need
No,
to, and that's the thing, is that they've never needed to give a fuck. And I'm not even saying right now that anything is going to happen, because I don't trust that anything really will happen. And but right now, with, like you said, the darkest days of the year, I think they're doing the energy siphoning
for
on
sure.
a huge level. And
I mean,
so
Christmas alone, like we can talk about that, like how it went from this beautiful Yule pagan holiday where it's like this stretch of days, not just one day where you get all these presents and then you rush to the next place and then you eat a bunch of food, rush to the next place. Oh, and don't worry, there's also football on. Like, I mean, come on, you guys. This is like
yeah,
it's 101 energy harvesting. And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
another thing that I know as part of the sports astrology stuff is that every single week that I am watching an energy harvesting ritual. And the working class people that pay a ton of fucking money should go to these games and cheer their hearts out and freeze in the stands and get drunk in the parking lots, and all of that energy is being just whoop right out of them. And I see it, but like
yeah,
being a part of the 3D is something I'm never going to stop being, you know? And it's like I can't just poof and I'm Glinda in a bubble floating down from the sky, although that would be pretty fucking handy.
yeah.
It's just not real. And that's kind of the part of the mysticism thing that I think that a lot of people don't forget, but it's like there is a huge part of being mystic in the mundane.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And especially like the stuff that you do with football, the stuff that's coming out with Epstein, like all this stuff, it's just a matter of bringing your energy back, because otherwise it's just, we fulfill these subconscious contracts, and we just, like, our energy will just go places that it's not useful to us, but then it like stays there, and energy is never destroyed, right? So we can consciously at any point, at any time, call all of that energy back. And that's something that I do energy work anyways, but I'll read through some of the Epstein stuff, and I literally, like, he showed up in my dreams last night, and as I was falling asleep, I saw like the demon that's behind him, and I was like, okay, get out of
Get
here,
out.
and because it is real, and this is what I just made a little video about, and like I'm gonna keep talking about, because I know for sure that they, like, that is why they are so fucked up and crazy, is because they're working with demons that are uh not for human life. They are against human life, and against everything beautiful, and especially against girls and women, because that's the most powerful portal that we have here. And so, like, because the thing is too, is I'm not going to stop being in the 3D, obviously. And I guess I could stop looking at the Epstein stuff, but it is kind of everywhere. And I do, like, I can only really handle so much at a time, but
Oh
I do,
yeah.
like, I kind of want to know, and it's not knowing exactly what he did, but like just seeing how all these different people and what they're getting away with. And the fact of the matter is, it's because they're doing these deeply occulted rituals, and they are feeding things that we cannot entirely see with our 3D eyes,
Which
and
is
that's why
crazy
it's
to think about.
so,
Like
yeah, it's, but like, and it's not just that I've seen a couple Epstein things and I think, oh my God, that's demon worship. It's because people at those levels work with demons, and I've heard that from, all these different anecdotes and all these different places. And it's like, okay, well, you put two and two together, like, why is there a big fucking temple on his island?
yeah.
Why are they doing certain releases and not releasing everything? It's because the stuff that you're paying attention to not only is draining energy from you, but it's a distraction from something that is even more fucked up, which is insane. And that's why it's like, anytime I've looked at that stuff for like a little, I'll watch like a TikTok video of somebody going through the photos or whatever. Then I'm like, okay, after I will be like, okay, I take all my energy back, especially from Epstein. I take my fucking
Yeah.
energy back because like, yeah, dead or alive, where you think he's dead or alive, like these people that work with the occult, they don't care if they die because
Yeah.
they know that they can still drain energy from you even in the afterlife because they work in these in between realms. So it's like I don't want to give him more energy, but like I kind of am when I pay attention to it. And especially when you look at the photos of him and like you look him in the face, and like some of the photos too with like the flash, he's got like the little beady eyes
Oh
and
yeah.
the freaking reflection like fucking Pennywise.
Like, no
And I was
thanks.
like, oh, right. But and it's that time of year, right, where I do agree that our souls are kind of more susceptible to getting like excavated, and oh my God, and just
Your camera is
having that energy.
incredible.
Yeah.
I can't wait to like kind of dive more into the like other side of it, right? Like we get to start seeing everyone getting like if I see Kevin Spacey, Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, and all these fucking people around this guy, and they're all like, we didn't know who he was. When money is there, there's certain type of people and certain energies that will always come to the surface and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, what you doing?" And the type of fame that, those people had, and to put themselves in a position like that, even after his sex crimes down in Palm Beach and everyone knowing what happened there, it's a crazy choice. Crazy choice. The only dream I ever had about him was in 2021, and he was still alive. And he was in this big mahogany room. And I remember reaching for my phone because he was telling me everything that he did to escape. And yeah, it's crazy. I was in my son's room taking a nap, and I still remember this. And I reached
You
over to
like
get my phone
slipped
on the
somewhere.
nightstand, and I'm like, when I held it, he's still talking to me. I'm awake, but he's still there. And I'm like, there's just something about this dude that it's like there's a lot happening here. I don't have dreams about people that I don't allow, like essentially. There's been a lot of dream work because I have a Mercury ruled 12th house, so I put a lot of protection around my dreams and my dream energy. Very
Mhm.
rarely do people see me in their dreams anymore. You are one of the few that get to. And when I do show up, I just show up as a head. So people are just like, what
Yeah.
the
The
hell?
the one you showed up as a head that like you saved my ever loving dream life. I'll never forget that.
I
You
was like,
literally
no,
like
you're gonna be fine. It's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'll describe it briefly, but like at the beginning of my dream, I was in a room that was like kind of dark, and every time I looked at my cat, he would lose a limb and it would be
That's
taken off
so
and
scary.
bloody. Oh my God, I still remember the feeling. I was screaming my bloody head off. And I do think that there's a level of like when you're calling out for help in a dream, somebody that you are connected to and that like loves you and is also a dream walker, which I would say you are. I
Yeah.
show up in other people's dreams, um, that you just like that's when you showed up as a head and you were like, Mariah, snap out of it. You were like, this is a dream, choose what you want. And
Yeah.
then I was like, and then as soon as I did that, I looked back at, well, as soon as you said that, and I was like, okay, I looked back at my cat and he was completely fine. And then this ended up being like one of my most amazing portal dreams where I like went through a series of, I think it was 3 or 4 portals after that, like lucidly that
Wow.
I chose to go through. And then at the end, I was in like some like the most luxurious place I've ever been, like a gilded gold marble.
The
It was beautiful.
opulence. I remember that's
Yes.
the word. I was like, yes, that's
Yeah.
to me where you belong, is in an opulent room of amazing things. And like stress is so much, like it can kill everything, creativity, your nervous system. We do have some comments from YouTube. Esperanza Vance Tarot said, one of my teachers pointed out recently how our eyes are all on space. Meanwhile, these rituals keep going on here and underground, literally under our feet.
Yes.
And that's so real because the ground and the earth, I don't think people understand that we are on the surface of this rock.
Yeah.
Like, we do not know, scientists still do not know what is at the very core and center. They have ideas, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like there are so many ways. Also, the things in Appalachian territory where people are talking about skinwalkers,
Yeah.
Bigfoots, Yetis,
Yeah.
things that are calling out your name in the middle of the woods in the middle of the night. These things all exist. It's just what your brain allows you to kind of experience sometimes. Do you feel
Yeah.
like your brain keeps you safe from things that you wouldn't want to see? Or like, how do you kind of like reel your energy back in? Because I think winter solstice is a great time to learn how to do that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I don't know. It's got to just be my disposition because I am okay with knowing really dark things like that. Um, obviously I don't think it's okay, but like I can like psychically handle it.
Yeah.
Um, speaking of like just as a quick note, I probably told you this before, but we Ruben had a friend who long time ago, this probably would have been early 2000s that he was doing this. He was like an electrical contractor in Toronto, and uh he was a part of setting up a new POS system in a really old Starbucks. It was like it wasn't old Starbucks. It was an old building that
Okay.
Starbucks was put into.
Like even an old
And
Starbucks is like 20 years old or something.
no, it was a really
Old ass
old,
building.
yeah, in Canada and Toronto, like how old can it be? But like maybe 1880 or like something like
That's
that. Like
old. Yeah, I'd
old
say that's
enough, like an
old.
old brick, really big house, and it turned into a Starbucks. So he had to like bring the POS line through the basement. And as he was, yeah, he had to go down. And as he was bringing it through this like corridor in the basement, he said that he was like stringing the electrical wiring across. And there were all these like symbols in this like cement wall that he was passing through. And then it opened into this huge cement room that had like, I think, okay, he hasn't told me this in a long time, but I think there was like an inverted altar in the middle.
Wow.
And like it was desolate, there was nobody there anymore, but like it was clearly like some sort of ritual room. And it was just like he was like, okay, like let me
Let me
finish
just
my
get out of
job,
here.
let me get the fuck out of here. And like, and that, but that's just one example of
Yeah.
like, that's completely correct, that there are things that are happening right under our feet all the time. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be like some satanic ritual sacrifice kind of thing, but like why else would you have to go and do that underneath,
I think
right?
it's
So
like
like,
really weak people that have to do really dark magic. Like that's how
yeah,
I've always viewed it. It's like
yeah,
Voldemort energy that like this little
yeah,
eighth of a human soul is
yeah,
embedded in this person, and they're like there's a degree in the Sabian symbol, a new soul hungry for human embodiment seeks out the human experience, and it's like very much it's Capricorn 3 degrees. Um, and it's all about this like eagerness for the human experience, but I think some of these people just kind of tend to be just like these little like people wearing witch hats, and it's like, guys, like that's not intimidating. I'm sorry.
yeah,
If I see
yeah.
somebody in 2025 having to wear a prop as their spiritual gimmick, I'm like, look, like let's knock it off. I
What do you
also
need the
think
prop
that there's like so much more power in not revealing what you do all the time, but like as long as it's one of those things where you're like, hey, I am working towards more magic of my home. Like I mentioned on the last stream that I did, I don't do magic for the public right now, and I don't know if I ever will because I'm still
yeah.
developing my practice. I reached out to Glasgow Witch on Instagram yesterday, and I just said thank you so much for everything you do, because she makes the process of being magical in this modern world seem a lot more attainable, because I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people think that they can't get out of the way of these people who have these ritual rooms that do all these things and they do heavy occult work, but
Mhm.
sometimes I think it can be a trap too. Like I think that some people have to do certain things and it can kind of get OCD at times. Do you
Yeah.
see any way to kind of like prep for not making it your entire, like if your magical practice consumes you to the point where you cannot live a fruitful, outgoing, positive, interactive life, I think that's a problem. Is there like ways that you tend to prevent yourself from going down that path of being all
Yeah.
consuming?
Yeah, for sure. And this kind of ties into your last question too that I didn't really answer, but it's
That's
a matter
okay.
of it's grounding. And
Yeah.
it's literally like you and I both know this, we both do this, that like there is so much psychic energy available. and we're not meant to hold it all within our human bodies by ourselves. Like we are meant to kind of discharge the like that output that we
Yeah,
don't necessarily need into planet Earth. To me, that is the goddess, right? So I say this metaphor all the time, but like you breathe out carbon dioxide and trees turn that into oxygen. It's the same thing that Earth does for that for us. For me, like I said, that is the goddess who is supporting me all the time. So, I mean, supporting everybody all the time. But like, I know maybe some people watching this are you might be Christian, or maybe you don't have any affiliations or whatever. But it's connecting to that divinity and a higher power that really loves you. And it's so I think that is the way out of the insanity of it, because you and I both know that if you don't have that plug to like really ground into, then like, yeah, you can easily like slip into psychosis and everything starts to become crazy. You become too lucid
for sure. Too
and
lucid
you
is not fun.
know
I think
you're
Kelly
picking
and
up
I talked
messages.
about that when I
Yeah.
did her like year preview. She's like, "Look, a lot of people told me this year was going to suck for me." She even said it on one of her shows. She goes, "I do not subscribe to that." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Damn, you know what it takes to be like, yeah, all this shit's happening. I don't give a shit." Like that is more I think of a deflector than anything, and like the grounding is so important, but it's
Yeah.
also knowing your power.
Yeah. Yeah. And knowing that you have the power to choose. And I mean, that's the thing that I've seen with my Saturn return too, is like everybody's like, oh my God, Saturn is out to get you and yada yada. And it's like, well, I don't think necessarily Saturn is out to get you. I think that there are lessons that Saturn's trying to teach you. And if you're not paying attention to those lessons, then you're going to eat your own karma. And Saturn is probably going to be the one to give it to you. And like, I've seen it with, definitely myself, where it's like, okay, am I going to take this lesson that is repeatedly in my face? And I keep, for me, it was like not being so close or really, really close friends with people that were actively like draining my energy, whether they meant to or not. I really had to make the choice to be like, okay, I can clearly see that this is a huge energetic leak for me and it is causing me bodily anxiety. And it is like, I mean, it's not that it didn't have an impact on my relationship, but like Ruben would bring it up to me and be like, are you sure that you want to keep like feeding into this? And I'd be like, I can handle it, like it's fine. Like meanwhile, I'm just like riddled with anxiety. And I kept going back in. And I was kind of addicted to that feeling
Mm-hmm.
of feeling like I was needed, but at the same time being completely drained from it and not getting anything reciprocated.
Yeah.
So that was when I was like that was I think that was my biggest like aha moment with Saturn, where Saturn and I understood Saturn as, my grandfather coming through in my dreams, and really connecting with Shani, which is the Vedic term for Saturn, and kind of
Yes.
like
I love
focusing
your
on.
connection to Vedic astrology too, because it's like the responsibility we have as astrologers is to master thyself, then we go out from there. And you're doing exactly what that Vedic, purpose is that truly mastering the rebirth. And I think our rebirth happens in Vedic astrology, and what we're born with, what we're born into is definitely the tropical side of things, especially if you're in the
Mhm.
northern hemisphere. Yet the
Yeah.
Vedic side is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, for me, I just kind of try to pay attention to all of it and see, and then there are times where I pay attention to none of it. And that's the
Yep.
thing where I'm like, I kind of like to know certain things at certain times. And I really felt Saturn come through over the past like 3 months, like leading up to my 31st birthday, was when I was just kind of like, I literally was like, wait, what am I doing? Why am I actively leaking my energy into a relationship that, for the past like several years has actually been a
Mm-hmm.
point of contention in my life, and has like, when, it's could be what it was maybe at some point, and it's not that the door is exactly closed, but it
But the
I
boundaries
had
sure are up. That's for sure.
yes. And I had so much more of my own energy over
Yeah.
these past 3 months where I just decided to be like, wait, like what the fuck am I doing?
Yep.
Right. And that was kind of my biggest lesson where it's yeah, like boundaries and keeping my boundaries because that's the number one thing that I'd be like, oh well, I'll put up this boundary for now.
Man.
And then like just, oh well, maybe I'll just like text them and be like, hey, like, are you okay? As in like, do you
Yeah,
need my
because it's
help,
okay
dude?
as
Yeah.
women though, it is hard to not
Oh, it's incredibly
take the
difficult.
responsibility of
Yeah.
the relationship and be like, this is me. I have to do this. And you've actually been through, I mean, for the short amount of time that we've known each other, you've seen me go through so many people that have been like, hey, I want to ride your coattails, but I don't want to do anything of the work. And I just want to go ahead and tell you what to do with yourself and everything that you have. And I'm like,
Audacity.
where did this come from? Like, I had the best reading with Amanda, who is with Astro Healing Council, Sophia Nova on Twitter and on Instagram and on YouTube. There we go. She's everywhere. That's how I like to have friends. They're on every
Yeah.
platform. I don't have to worry about one going down. I'll just go yap at them on another, or I'll text each other. It's so much easier. But,
Yeah.
she told me, she's like, when you are moving in the public eye, like, people that put themselves out there are always going to be attachments and people that come along and say, I can do this too. And I don't like being somebody's Saturn return, but I was last year. And they have a 0 degree Saturn, and I'm sitting here like I have a 0 degree Capricorn Uranus that's directly sextile that, and my Saturn happens to be sextile that too. And I'm like, why do I have to be your dad? Like, this is just really shitty. I shouldn't have to tell you to show up on time, to show up at all, and hold up your end of the fucking bargain. I don't like being people's Saturn returns. So
Yeah.
my idea was to not work with people going through their Saturn returns ever. But then I met you, Jamal, Alessia, and I'm like, oh shit. This is everything I've wanted. You guys are awesome. So I can't stereotype the Saturn return as a Saturn dominant person. It's like that's just kind of been my life. I've always felt this heavier presence and outside pressure, but like when you realize the pressure's coming from within because it's unlived creativity, it's unlived stories, it's your own parents sometime that you
Mhm.
have unlived shit to just get out of your system.
Yeah.
I made multiple mistakes that both my parents made, but I made them in bigger, grander fashions and way more personal. They had like outlinings of the things that I had gone through during my Saturn return, but like I made mine so obscure that everyone's just like, "Is she okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm possessed right now. Thank you." From from 20 end of 2017 to the end of 2019, I was possessed. Like, sorry about it. I was driven by notoriety. I wanted fame. I wanted attention. And now looking back on that and being 7 years out of my Saturn return, I'm going through my Saturn square. So I completely feel like, did you learn the lessons? Did you actually go through that? Did you actually let go of those feelings, energies, whatever? And
Mhm.
the answer is no. So I am repeating a lot of those right now, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is just awareness too. And it's like, can you, because I think that's the biggest thing with Saturn is like, do you see what's happening here? Do you see the effect of what you're doing? And if you don't, then it will be repeated and repeated and repeated. And then even if you do, but you're like, oh, like maybe I can do this time, or maybe I can handle it in this way, then Saturn's like, then this is what's going to happen, and then you tweak and you adjust as you move forward. And I think the biggest thing too is like just having an inner world, because I've like I posted my video about Saturn return on TikTok, and it's now my
Yeah.
most viewed video on TikTok, which is not to say that it's like gone incredible, but
It's still a big deal.
there's a ton of comments, and there's a ton of comments of people sharing their experience, and I think
Wow.
that that is kind of the most valuable part of that video is like reading through what people are saying, and their own placements and stuff like that. And just from what, I mean, I don't know these people, obviously they're just the comments, but from what I've seen, it's like the people that don't do any sort of reflection or inner work are having a hard time.
Yeah.
And if you do reflect, if you're like, oh, and also treat other people well, obviously it depends on how they're treating you, but I
Yeah.
mean like not taking advantage of people, treating them like other human beings essentially, and not just like something to use and throw away, then Saturn is not going to be so harsh. It's
Yeah.
just going to be like things where you're like, oh, now I know this thing. I'm going to absorb this lesson and allow it to inform me going forward. But some of the comments where they're like, it's been so bad and yada yada, and obviously it's got everything to do with whatever else is going on in their life. And I'm like, okay, well, take the time to build your inner world
Completely.
and say Saturn mantras, do whatever else you need to do. But like having that inner world is what allows you to have insight into your experiences, so that the lessons and experiences that you have aren't just like, oh my God, this happened to me again. Oh my
Like,
God, this
okay,
happened
how
to
did
me.
this show up? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like, well, why does it keep showing up? Like
That's a really
what is
good
it?
lesson though with Saturn and Pisces, because the idea, like, I am a Pisces stellium, I can say it. I'm also a sidereal Pisces sun. You got to stop being the victim. Holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
stop it. Knock it off. Like, if I could just go and shake people and be like, oh no, the consequences of my actions have led me to this result. Like,
Mhm.
hello. My hairstylist and I always scream at our kids natural consequences. So, oh, did you just stub your foot because you're running 100 miles an hour into a wall? That's shocking. Natural consequences.
Yeah.
We've been friends for a long time, so it's one of those things where we can just laugh at. But it's like the ability of Saturn to just knock you on your ass will never go away. It
Yeah.
never goes away. My Saturn return, I basically didn't realize I was poisoning myself with medication, and also I did my extension removal once with Gogh. It's like a wall paste, and I just left it in on my extensions overnight. And I'm like, how did I get poisoned? Oh my God, how did this happen? I've been throwing up nonstop. I left wallpaper adhesive remover in my extensions to get them out in, like, I think it was 2019, 2018. And I'm like, how did I get so sick for 3 months? I have no idea. I should have gone to poison control. Okay. Like,
Months.
it was insane. It was insane. And so the things that I was doing just to get by, like, I also had lost all my hair. That's why I was wearing extensions. I had
Mhm.
been on prednisone steroids for a long time. And so, like, my body was just swollen and angry. And so, like, a lot of it was just like, I went from working out 5 times a week in the gym to basically working out of a bar and doing all of my shows there and meeting clients there because it was just easy. My house fell into a state of disarray. We mentioned that there's like a level of really basic spiritual hygiene that you can do when you just simply clean your house. And it's
Yeah.
like, not only are there limpias that you can do with eggs and the egg cleanses, but there's also this thing called scrubbing your goddamn floor that will clean up a lot of energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I don't know, I mean, it's just been a personal preference, but I've always done that kind of deep clean weekly on Saturday.
Yes.
And for me, I'm kind of like, oh, like these are small like Saturn rituals where I think that perhaps like maybe that's why my Saturn return has not been super harsh. And even still, like, and this is a Vedic concept, like I'm technically in my Sati Sati until like something stupid like 2029. But
Wow.
again, like, yeah, that's something where I'm like, is that going to make my life horrible? No,
Do I
like
subscribe to
it's
this?
not.
No.
Like that's the thing, is like it's something where I'm like, okay, well, now I just know that I have to pay deeper attention to Saturn for like
Mm-hmm.
longer than my Saturn return. And that's, that's fine with me, because kind of once I really clicked in the past year and I stopped being afraid of Saturn, then I had these lessons rapid fire, and I was able to absorb the lessons and actually learn from them. And it's been Saturn mantras, cleaning on Saturday, like these sorts of things that are fairly simple, but it's
You
really
would think.
allowed me, yeah, I've been like, oh, this is what I was learning. Okay, like let
Yeah.
me try to ground that lesson and actually use it, and not like go back to that person that was treating me poorly, or go back to this habit that wasn't good for me, and go back to this thought pattern that was keeping me like really not my best self, right? And be like, okay, well, I can change those things. I can make active steps to not be bogged down by Saturn. And right now we are in Saturnalia
Mm-hmm.
until the 23rd. I honestly, before I thought it was just Christmas was Saturnalia. I
Oh,
didn't know it was
really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
never
it was like,
much
I
of it.
think this year is when I started noticing like things happen, like things starting like 16th, 17th, people started posting about. I'm like, oh wait, I thought it was always
Mhm.
the 21st. I thought winter solstice and Saturnalia were the same thing.
Yeah.
And so now that I've learned so much, I think it's because of this magazine that I've been like, okay, these are the customs here, these are the customs there. You know,
Yeah.
Yule has been a huge thing. The 13 nights that I'll be participating in, very excited about that one. It
Is
starts
that starting
tonight.
tonight?
Yeah, it starts tonight
Okay.
after
I didn't write
sundown.
my little things down. I
Yeah,
watched the
mine are
video.
like right over there. Yeah.
Oh,
They're right
okay.
over there.
Yeah,
They're
I'm gonna
under
do them with
my
Ruben later,
lapis
I think.
lazuli.
Yeah.
And it's like they've been just ruminating there. But I wrote a lot that were just like things that were just already the case. And I'm like, I just want to continue this, you know? Really focusing on magic, like writing statements like, I am healthy, wealthy, my family, money flows easily to my family, money flows easily to me. I am the healthiest I've ever been. I am the strongest I've ever been. Whatever it is people want to write down, it's so important. But you get to burn things, which we both love. Us being like, ooh, fire. But it's like you get to burn each one, I think one each night until you get to the 13th night where you open that one and read it. And that's your
Yeah.
mantra going forward for the
Yeah.
rest of
And
the
at
year.
random too. Like that's what I like is that you put them into one bowl. This was from the Glasgow Witch,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay,
And it's
yes.
she's
Yeah. That
Scottish based, but it's very Celtic. It's very all the
yeah.
Germanic, because Germanic has the 12 nights and they start on Christmas Eve. And so whether you
Yeah.
start on winter solstice or Christmas Eve, this is the best part about modern witches that really get it. They're like, you can start whenever. You don't
Yeah.
have to like go on. It's literally just something that we're all doing, so it makes it a little bit more powerful that we're
Yeah.
all putting that intention into it. But like, you can do it whenever. Time is not real. Like, just do it.
Right? Yeah. And I love that the last one that you keep, you don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like I think that that is it makes it's I don't know, like I love rituals and I find that like that part of the ritual just makes it like even more magical because then that last one is like okay, like this is what it is for the year and those other ones are completely released and you're literally not supposed to remember them. That's the thing. You remember this one and then you just let the other ones unfold, right? Like maybe you pick out
Yes.
a really maybe a more specific one that's like okay, maybe mine is like I run 8 kilometers, right? Like my limit is about 6
I'm like, how
that
many
I did
miles
this
is that?
past summer, which like, yeah, was crazy for me because my max had been 5 for years and years and
Damn.
years. Yeah, and then Ruben was like, okay, well you can do 6 now.
You
And I was
got this. If you could do
like
5,
really?
look, I'm over here like I just started walking again on this knee. So the fact that you can already do 5, hell yeah, you can do 6. Like,
Well,
and then doing
it's
that 8.
specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like so that I might do like a couple specific ones like that where it's like, you know, that is like a milestone that's like I know that I can do it. Is it something that I would do if I wasn't thinking about that? Like, I don't know, I'd probably just stick with 5 to 6 because also I don't really run that much over the winter because I like to run outside.
Yeah.
But regardless, like maybe that's the one that I get at the end. Like I don't know. Or maybe it's something that's more broad where it's like you said, I'm happy and healthy and wealthy, right? And so, but to see, like, to find out what it's going to be, I think is it just kind of gives you even more partnership with divinity
Yes.
and your own loving ancestors and guides and earth. Because I mean, whenever I connect in and do something with that, I always ask for their support. Again, it is important that you say your loving ancestors because not all of them want the best for you.
Yeah.
And
That's
like
real.
it's just it's unfortunate, but it's true. And if you just say all of my ancestors, you might I don't think it would really put anybody off their path hugely, but you might get a little like
You
kiboshing in
never know
there.
who the fuck you're related to. Like, honestly, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
unless you have a clear genealogy path from now until all the way
And
back,
for
it's hard. Yeah.
both parents, like it's way too much. So like
No, I
just
agree.
put a couple filters
Just a
on
few.
what you're
I've done
asking
my
for.
family tracking back. My dad's back to the dawn of time, but my mom's
That's crazy.
side, her grandpa married his first wife's cousin. The first wife died. The cousin was my great grandma. But he's like 20 years older than her, and there's no record of his family anywhere. Like it goes to a different trail, and I just know that they have a very obscure last name to where I haven't been able to find anything on it, and it's just like a random German translation, very generic. So it's like there's a whole part of me of Germanic ancestors that I have no idea about.
Mhm.
There's parts that I also do know about, and that's kind of I found out my dad is six cousins with Helen Keller. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. um I guess that makes me
How
like
did you
seventh.
is it just the name has been
It's the ancestry and me, like the actual DNA thing too. So I put it in the one that I do trust, which ironically is in Salt Lake City, and it's the like Mormon church genie. I'm like, look, they have enough secrets to hide besides my own family. Like, I think they have
yeah,
other things going on. So I like
they're
just
gonna
went to
try to
that
not let that
one.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think it's gonna be me. But no, they have so much just background in history just going to that
Okay.
area. I've been told that if you actually go to the genie like headquarters, they can like pull out everything you can ever imagine about your ancestors, and I'm like, that's kind of a lot. But yeah, I've heard that like white people shouldn't talk to their ancestors because they're all terrible, and I'm like, look, I hate to break this to you, but people of all races, all
We're
walks of
doing some
life
heinous
have
shit.
had some
Yeah.
terrible ancestors. Like, we
Yeah.
can't all like take accountability for everything that has ever happened, but like the idea of talking to them and say my loving ancestors, I think is an incredible protection to bring that
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah. Just a little filter, because like you said, you don't know what you're gonna get. And loving guides as well, because I something else that I kind of clued into over the summer is that you don't know the agreements that certain lineages have made
Mm-hmm.
with certain beings and deities and demons, and that somebody's last name, somebody's lineage could be still feeding that being.
Wow.
And that I had I had a dream that I was the source for somebody else's ancestor, and that is
Wow.
why I was getting so drained by that person. And this is the person where I was like, okay, at least for now I need to collect what
Yeah.
I got going on. And then, but like if I have to have such strong boundaries in order to be friends with somebody, then it's kind of like, like, are we really friends?
Yeah.
um and but like that was something where I had another like aha moment where I was like, whoa, like that is why it makes so much sense that this person is not even being energized by the energy that I'm giving them, that I'm getting drained, that the energy that I'm giving them is going seemingly nowhere. It's because it was, and like again, you don't have to believe me, but it was just like
I believe you.
feeding. Yeah, yes. And I appreciate that. And I know that's why it's safe for me to talk about these sorts of
Yeah.
things, but it was like that being was just like eating it. And then in the dream, my ancestors or some voice, like something, it felt like my loving ancestors and guides were like, you don't belong here. This is not your business. This
Yeah.
is none of your business. And you need to get out of here, because there's nothing really I can do, because even if I were to explain it to these people, they'd be like, okay, 911, we've got a freaking schizo alert, like get her out of here, right? Like,
Yeah, that's part of being a mystic, you know?
yeah.
Sometimes you just don't fucking know, and it's hard. It's hard.
Mhm.
There's so many times where I've like, and I tell my other half all the time, I'm like, I don't know if I'm hallucinating, dreaming, if what do I call this? Like, when I have a vision of somebody and it's something very very clear, I'm awake, but like how am I supposed to describe this? Like, I tell people I have a dream. Like, I had a dream about you. That's the easiest way to put it. There'll be times like I reached out yesterday when I was doing my lunation stuff for next year, and the book that I will eventually be writing. It was all about like the different moons, and I saw Kelly had a moon, the full moon on February 1st, and I reached out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be huge for your career. I have no idea why, but that's the first thing I thought of. And I'm like, it's gonna be really big. Okay, bye. And it's like these little like blips of information.
Bye.
Yeah, and then like, bye, happy holidays, see you later. She's like, I'll be in town January, and I'm like, okay, see you then. Gotta go. But it's like we really do live in our own little worlds, and you have to. I
Yeah.
mentioned just like the amount of outside noise that I've tuned out. Like when I wrote the fall equinox issue, I was so angry at my neighbors for being so obnoxious, right? It's been an ongoing thing. I've also had dreams of that house just not existing anymore. So I'm like, I
Oh,
think it's just a matter of time and they'll leave. I don't know.
yeah.
But this time around, I was like, okay, I don't have anything to say about my neighbors, mostly because I don't fucking care. I have
Yeah.
totally gone into my own world. I have totally submerged myself in this, to the point where I only follow X amount of people on social media because I can't fucking keep up. Like,
Mhm.
I purge a lot of things. Even my tiny little account that I have on Instagram, I'm like, yep, there's about 50 people in the world that need to know what I'm doing on an actual level. And even then, it might be every once in a while I update it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's powerful. It's powerful to take that energy back.
And it's really, yeah, it's powerful and it has real effect and impact. And I think this was the biggest thing that I didn't really realize was that by leaking my energy all over the place to all these different people that were leaking it themselves, that like it's not benefiting them, it's definitely not benefiting me. And so kind of once I had that realization from my dreams and I saw these steel doors go down, I just saw it like shoo, like anytime I would think about this person, phoom, I just had this
Wow.
visual. Yeah. And I was like, okay, got
We
it.
get it.
Loud and clear. Literally. And that's the thing too about having, I mean, we have each other and we have like close friends that are also mystics and people that are on our side with those things. And you, I mean, we both have partners that we can tell these things to and that, you know, encourage us in our magic, and that is so beneficial. Not everybody does.
Yeah.
And so that is definitely not something that I take for granted, because it's not always safe to say these things. And you and I have both been in situations where it wasn't safe to say the things that we were experiencing, that, you know, we look back and we understand that these were like deep mystical experiences that, like, to other people, yeah, it looks like psychosis, and
Yeah.
definitely felt like psychosis and probably was psychosis on a level of like not quite taking us all the way there, but like we're going down that direction. And it's a matter of that energy like all coming back, and especially like from the past and even like from the future, all these different places, locations, people, you know, bringing that energy back into your field is so much more beneficial than people realize. And it's not like you do that meditation and then like overnight you're like, oh my god, I'm fabulous, everything's amazing, yada yada. Like it takes, you know, like for me, it took some months to
Yeah.
like actually like ground it in and see the visible changes. And then I started to change my attitude. I started to change like how I was talking to myself. And that overall, like that, you know, because when I started to really pull my energy back was, I think, June. And it was just kind of like a gradual learning since then, which actually was 6 months out from my 31st birthday.
That's
So it was like,
incredible.
yeah, it was like I was just starting to kind of like just follow the flow and get this information. And then I was like, okay, well, now I'm feeling better, I have more energy, now let's use the information and talk about it and hopefully help other people with it. And that's also why, like, I'm just going to keep talking about the Epstein stuff too, like not here and now, but I mean like
Right
in
now,
general,
I'm going to give my entire dissertation.
everything. But like you there, that is such an energy drain,
Yeah.
that is such an energy like slip where you can really get siphoned in such a powerful way. That's like take
Everybody wants to
take
talk about
back.
getting got by like the elites and everything. I'm like, have you ever gotten got by yourself? That's a whole nother fucking thing. Like, I
Mhm.
let myself get to that point, like you said, the lack of sleep. I had black mold in my windows, like for the longest time. Like, I had these
You
two
shut my
windows
door.
in my room. I'm the only room in the house that besides the primary bedroom, that has two whole windows. And it's like, I definitely can experience and say that after I read this account of this guy who had black mold and went nuts, I'm like, wait a second, was that part of it? Was this a thing? And I got new windows. Everything's been better, but I used to have
Good.
those old windows up and open all the time with what I thought was fresh air coming in. And that was right around the time that your girl got the fuzzy sock vacation. And it was like, to me, it was like one of those moments where I'm like, I need a break from electronics. I need a break from everything else. I need a break from everyone around me. And the best thing I can do for myself is literally realize nothing matters except what's in front of you, what you can control, and your daily actions each and every day that goes into that. And that's a
Yeah.
really hard thing to think about when you're in this blissful place mentally. And you're like, wow, everything's connected. And you get signs really easily. Like, I would be at the point where I could look out my window and be like, I want a white car to go by. Voop, white car would go by.
Yeah,
It's
way too
crazy
lucid.
attraction. And we've
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
movies about this stuff. Like, I think there was a Will Smith,
Oh,
Margot Robbie,
Lucy.
your twin. Oh yeah,
Oh,
Lucy too. Lucy's
yeah.
great. I just saw Lucy for the first time this year. Mostly
I actually love
because
it. Everybody talks shit about it, but I love it.
I was just like, wait, so, and spoiler alert, it's fucking old. So if you haven't seen it, I was just like at the end, I'm like, wait, so she just melts into something and like we just don't know what this is. That to me symbolizes like AI so hard. It's like, what is it? What can it do? We don't know what it's capable of, but the strongest thing in the world is still going to be a female's intuition. And that's to me what that movie was so loudly about.
What's the Margot Robbie movie?
There's this movie with Margot Robbie and Will Smith, and it's like the scene that I've seen where they talk about the 55, and it's like he's like telling her, I know I'm going to take this man to a football game. We're going to be up in a suite. I know what number he's going to pick to have a great game before he even does. And it's because on the way from the casino to the football stadium, he's seen nothing but 55s. I purposely made sure that every time that we were picking him up was a 55. Every time that we were around was a 5-5. I just got goosebumps, of course. But like, there are things and people, and if you are reaching a certain level in certain things, I do believe that there's remote viewers. There's people that can see what you're up to. They can, your energy. And I think that's what I didn't understand because I think coming from such a 3D uh, world, I was simply like, none of this is real. Like, if I say something, nothing's going to happen. Like, are you kidding me? I just did not understand the cause and effect for a long time. So I would just be kind of like, I don't know, just half-ass about stuff. And yet the things that I still said came true instantly. And I'm just like, oh shit, what is this? And it can be a little bit, much for sure.
Yeah. Oh, it can be super jarring. And that's the thing too, is like you said, when you're at these levels of understanding consciousness and energy and things like that, like there are already people who have figured it out, have mapped it, and can access your energy at any given moment because the government has been doing this
Forever.
forever, but definitely like during the 20th century, and especially during the Cold War and the
Mm-hmm.
different experiments that they were doing to try to get an edge up on each other between
Yeah.
the US and Russia. Like all that stuff that we can see, you know, the MK Ultra files, different CIA files, stuff like that from the 60s and 70s is
So
released to
crazy.
us now, because they're not only are they way ahead of whatever is in those, and you know, it's stuff on energy
Yeah. This is
work
like
and
stuff from 40 years ago. They're like, yeah, you can see it, I guess now. Yeah.
yeah, because we're ahead, they're ahead of it, and the main players have died off.
Yeah.
So either that, or they're, you know, they're with Jeffrey Epstein on some freaking paradise where,
Some cloud.
oh, yeah, there's no internet, right?
Right.
Um, and that's the thing is, and is it's like once you get to those levels, you have to be aware of that. And I mean, how I'm trying to combat it is that I just visualize and intend that anybody that is looking at me with any sort of intent that it's not moving me forward, like I make the intent to drain them of their energy
Mm-hmm.
and then ground it and cleanse it and
It's
use
like a
it.
bug zapper.
So like hopefully that's like an extra level of protection where they're like, okay, well, I don't want to be drained, so we'll just leave her alone.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is worth being drained to like watch and see what I'm doing. I don't think so, but regardless, like it's a matter of that, like having that level of awareness of being like, actually this is all very active, and they can remote view anything at any time, like
And
so.
there's levels to that because I know there's a lot of people that claim to be wizards and shit that are like, I'm working on my remote viewing. I think there's a lot of people that just don't talk about it. And those are the people that are actually understanding what they're supposed to be doing. Like if you're just trying to do remote viewing for a gimmick or to be like, look what I can do, and you're trying to turn into a Power Ranger, I guess, like, humans have natural magic capabilities. And I think that's what the loudest thing has been about
Yeah.
the spiritual journey is that we do have these powers and strengths and hidden abilities, but they're not really hidden. And if you can focus your mind on one thing, I still remember the very first time I ever meditated in sixth grade. My sixth grade teacher took us all outside because we were all fucking squirrely. Like none of us were acting right. He is the same sixth grade teacher that showed us slides of his time in Vietnam when he was in the war. So he was out there. He was one of the best teachers I ever had. And we go out to this like little area by the kindergarten playground, and we all sat down. And he said, "Sit down and just focus everything you can on listening to the cricket." And there's a cricket rubbing its legs together, and I just remember focusing like that for maybe 5 minutes at most, and I was a different person. My brain felt
Oh,
different. I could literally feel the power of that focus, and I don't think people really understand the human attention is like the biggest currency that we could
yeah.
possibly have. And I'm like,
Oh
yeah,
my
I've
God,
heard.
that cricket would have been like the power.
Can you imagine that cricket with all these sixth graders just like, and it was year
Yeah.
2000, so it's like also it was another dragon year,
That
so
is
it's
crazy.
like, oh my god, it was so funny. Like,
Oh my God, imagine that cricket is like his buddy.
you should
Just
have just
feeding the
experienced
cricket.
what I experienced, dude.
That's actually so funny. But it is, I mean, it does really go to show that our attention is so powerful. And especially like when we can focus it on nature,
Yeah.
like not only do we calm the fuck down, especially like as kids, being like, okay, focus. And I can only imagine like being a teacher, he was like, I gotta do something
Yeah,
with
you guys
these
are fucking
kids.
driving me nuts. Get like
Yeah.
for a teacher to take you outside, sit you on the ground, and be like, "Shut up," and just
Yeah.
listen. I'm like, this is a
Focus.
different type of, but that's what I think people need. And
Yeah.
the more that I go into all of the, like I was mentioning earlier that we don't need to go anywhere to change. Like we don't
Yeah.
like our bodies are capable of being in a totally different realm in the same room as everyone else in, like you could be in, like, I think my partner always says we might go to the same events as people, but we do not have the same experience. And it's very true. It's like we might all go to the same concert, but our experiences are all wildly different. Somebody could be having
Mhm.
the best night of their life and the worst night of their life, and it's they're in the same room.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think you have to move or change or like shift yourself like all the way across the world just to have a spiritual experience. I really do think it starts within, and having that grounding and having that understanding is so key to not getting got by Saturn or any other, type of forces out
Yeah.
there just, waiting for you to slip up. And it's
Yeah.
almost like, hey, I'm not going to get you. I'm not going to punish you. I'm simply waiting for your own actions to catch up with you. And that's what I think a lot of people demonize Saturn in this way. And I'm like, well, is he the problem or are you? And that's okay
Yeah.
if you are. Just realize it.
Yeah. And just be like, okay, well, where am I being the problem? Right. And that's the thing too. And that's what Saturn has taught me this whole year is like, where am I actively choosing either someone else, or am I choosing to like just drain myself in whatever way? Is it my mental pattern? Is it, who I'm choosing to be around? Is it how I'm choosing to spend my time? All those things, they do add up. And I think, I mean, for me, at least it was like kind of a linear process, was like, okay, I need to not have these active drains around me, whether that's a person or a habit or whatever. And then I had more energy, and then I had more mental clarity, and then I started to see the physical changes. It was like I just didn't have enough energy to see what was right in front of me, and like not even right in front of me, what was in my brain, right? Because I was spending a lot of time, and not even with this person, but like just in conversation with this
Yeah.
person, FaceTime, like all the time, like every day, and their dominant thought process again was that anxiety, everything is going to go wrong, something bad is going to happen, always like you message this person, they'd be like, oh, something's wrong again,
Oh yeah.
it was just one of those things.
Oof.
And like I've noticed since I've stopped that connection, I'm not having those same thoughts anymore. I'm able to choose a different thought that does move me forward. And I've noticed, like, I mean, I didn't really notice, I don't think I have an actual problem, but I noticed that my thyroid's kind of not as swollen. And
Wow.
yeah, and this person in her immediate family has somebody with like takes medication for their thyroid.
Wow.
And so that was like something that I was just kind of like, it was something that I just really kind of noticed in photos where I was like, oh, well, it's not that it looks bad, but then now I look at the difference and I'm like, oh, well, it does look like a little less inflamed, like maybe, and whether that's just having more energy in my field or just not having these connections to these people that are looking to pull the energy that they need, right? Because they don't necessarily know that they need this energy, but they're like, their subconscious is kind of scrambling and looking for it in whatever way that they can get it. And like I said, they don't have the intention to do that,
No,
right?
that's the
Like
thing that I think people are like, well, my friends wouldn't do that. They would never like intentionally try to take energy, and it's like it's not about the intentional part.
yeah,
I think sometimes people, like you said, the energy leaks, they don't realize it. And when I was at my most external validation seeking level, that's when I noticed it. It's like, okay, why am I constantly seeking out the approval of people that I wouldn't want to trade places with? Why would I listen to
yeah.
advice from people that I wouldn't want to trade places with? And it's not that I don't listen to other people's advice. Of course I don't. I'm an Aries. I do what I want. But
Yeah,
there's like three people I think on this earth that can tell me what to do, and that's a good start. But when you have that inner authority, naturally you have it. Your Aries energy is alive and well. It's hard to stop, sit back, and be like, you know what? I think that this person is the problem because you see them as your friend, you see them as this. But I have noticed, I went from being out in the public eye 24 hours a day with my former media career, and then I disappeared. And you know that story. It was about 4 years ago. I just said, fuck this, I'm out. And
yeah.
deleted everything, changed my phone number, was like, please don't contact me. People thought I died, which I think is still funny as fuck. I'm like, Gracey Terrell obituary, keep running the numbers up. Because when I do
Yeah.
finally get there, it'll be the most viewed one of all time. It'll be 100 years from now, but good luck, everyone. There's just so much about
Total
that.
rebirth.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like you and I will be 150. Like, damn it, we learned too much. Now we've transmuted everything.
literally.
No, but I think it's so important around winter solstice to just call your energy back. Keep it pristine. If it's not something you would want repeated to everyone you know, don't fucking say it. Journal it out. Scream it into a pillow. Like, your words are so powerful. Speaking of Hindu concepts, the Vakshati, this idea that things come to you when you speak from a pure channel. So if you are
Mm,
constantly speaking the truth that you speak will start to happen because it's based in all this truth. But when
yeah.
you're spreading rumors, gossiping, fear mongering, even to me, like, all of Christianity is just this giant, like, this, I'm going to yell at you. You're going to feel horrible about yourself. To me, that's energy looshing. Like,
It's
that's
literally
total
like, feel
energy
bad, feel
douche.
bad, feel bad. Like,
Like,
bro,
nah,
like I
dude, if
just
I
don't
wanted to
want
feel
to.
bad, I'd hang around in my extended family. I'm good.
Thanks.
Like, all of that has prepared me to never want to be a part of that type of energy. But in the Bible Belt where we are, tons of fucking cult energies. I've met people that have escaped cults here in Kansas City. The IHOP church, I thought it was just IHOP, like this beautiful place for breakfast and like coffee with friends. That's International House of Pancakes. That's what I always thought it was. A few years ago, turns out that IHOP was based out of Kansas City and is this huge predatory church that has been here and has been catered to for the last like 20, 30 years in the Kansas City area. It's in Independence, Missouri. I don't really know if that's Kansas City, but it's a place that people have based, like, they had communities. If you went on Airbnb and tried to look up like a big house to like family reunion in Kansas City, they would all say like IHOP, like close to IHOP. And I'm like, why does everyone care about pancakes that much? I was very confused. And then it's like, oh, it's International House of Prayer is what this place is called. And now these people have all been like caught. They've been put in jail. A lot of the leaders have been. But it's coming out what a corrupt organization they were. And I'm like, you know what? For a place that I feel like originated in fear and control, like the church, none of this surprises me. I wish it did, but it doesn't. And your book, by the way, I don't think we've even like brought that up. Your book has single-handedly been helping people figure out there's more to the story than just like, I'm sorry, do men give birth? No. So
Nor.
what are we talking about? Like
Yeah.
women bring life into this world. Of course they've been persecuted and said that they're these evil witches. Like I read a lot of Dolores Cannon and her
Yes.
past life regressions. The one,
Yeah.
The Horns of the Goddess. I'll never forget reading this because I felt it in my soul, almost like this had happened to me in a past life. Like when you read this stuff, like the church coming to your house and heating up a giant like pitchfork and stabbing it into women in their birth canals just to say you didn't listen to the church. Like this stuff is fucking insane.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened to women in the name of God. So
Yeah.
what's going to happen when the goddess comes alive again?
Hmm.
She's not going to, I'm not going to go around killing men. Like that's fucking nuts, or harming them in the name of the goddess. Like that would never occur to me. So what shift is this awakening of the goddess and winter solstice? Like I feel like there's something big happening in 2026. That Scottish church says the fallen angel is going to become unbound this next year. The Kali
I saw
Yuga,
that tweet.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like there's so much happening around. I wrote that book about the astrology of 25 because I honestly couldn't handle like the amount of shit that I knew about this year happening. And then of course all of it does. And then now we're going to this huge monumental moment of February 2026, the Saturn Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries, the North Node going back to the whistleblowing degree of Pisces at 8 degrees. Like that's right around Valentine's Day. Huge energy push. So, how can people work with the goddess and this winter solstice energy to really protect themselves and maybe awaken new paths?
Yeah, yeah, great question. I mean, I think that you can connect with the goddess every single day, just by connecting with nature. And like, I know that it's not the nicest to go out in the winter and do this, but I find it so peaceful and so serene to do it in the snow.
Yes.
And like, I'm Canadian, so I have the advantage. Like, I've got snow boots that go up to my knees. I've
Yes.
got like a legit winter jacket that I've had for years that is like the one I pull out when it's like really cold as fuck.
Does it have the fur around that
Yeah,
like
of
everyone's
course.
been arguing about what the purpose is?
Oh, yeah, I saw that where you fold that in. Like,
I'm like,
no,
no,
man,
no way.
no, you need that to block the wind. Like, that's
Right.
what it's for.
Idiots.
Like, come on, you haven't spent an actual winter outside with one of those. But like, I will make the time to do that. Like, not necessarily when it's like blistering and
Yeah.
cold and there's snow blowing in my face, but like if it's not snowing and I need some tree time, like it is so nice to do it in the winter because it is so quiet. There's nobody else there. Like, I mean, for me, I go to the park and do it, and like there's some
Yes.
people walking around and stuff, but there's not as many people as there are when it's really nice and warm out. And then I go underneath like a big pine tree or a tree that is still green and has like a big area underneath it, and I'll just like spend time there and meditate. And for me, meditation is, I will close my eyes, and I guess my biggest advice that you can do inside or outside is just connecting to the galactic core and visualizing a beautiful white pillar of light from there through the atmosphere, through the crown of your head, through your body, and then connected all the way down to the core of planet Earth. That is what I think is the best way to receive higher level messages, because then you're grounding it, and then Gaia is going to send it back up with the good stuff and is taking this like the stuff that you don't need. And I think that is the easiest route to like take these higher level messages and actually be able to use them. So anyways, I will do this under the tree, and that's like my first step to any meditation is that line of connection. And then I just ask the tree, I'm like, what do you want me to understand?
I love
What?
your tree like guided wisdom. Like that is some of my favorite content that you put out because it'll be like a random day. I'll be scrolling through YouTube and then I see this. The trees want you to know something, and I'm like, I need to know this. Tell me
They have a
immediately.
message. And the thing is too, is like when I go out to the trees, they don't always have a message for
Yeah.
YouTube. Like sometimes it's just a message for me, and I will ask, and it'll be very clear of like, it's not like don't share this. It's just like it is so specific to me, and like, yes, I can share it anyways if I want to, but there are times that you just know, like, I'm just like, that's just a message for me. And then I'll go back again and it's like, okay, this is a message for everybody that, the trees want to help us and they can kind of offload a lot of the energy that we don't need to use. I remember that being a pretty major
Mm-hmm.
one. But just like that is connected to the goddess, because the goddess is here as earth. So when we connect into nature in that way, when we connect down to the core of our planet, it is going to discharge the energy that we don't need. Like I said before, it's like the
It's
carbon
like that
dioxide.
static energy. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's that's what a tree does anyways. Like there are scientific articles where the tree will take your positive ions that
so
you don't need,
amazing.
that are not good for your energy and your energy field, and that also has a spiritual effect, and it has a mental effect, and it has all these like layered effects. And by doing that, the goddess will naturally come forward, whether she comes forward just as Gaia. That's how I worked with the goddess for years before she unfolded into more for me, because it was
Wow.
just like really laying down the groundwork literally for years. And then the how it changed into blooming into more of Sophia was that I had to learn how to love my body as a vessel for receiving these messages and a vessel for experience, all these
Wow.
things, because she couldn't come through to me in her fullness until I accepted the medium that I had to experience that fullness. And
Wow.
it was like, yeah, it was like there was this, she was like, you hate your body and it's not letting everything else come through. And so I finally just had to be like, oh, okay, like I'll stop it, I guess. And still, like, that was
What?
a long process, right? Like, it's just something that if it's not an issue for you, you're like, well, why would you hate who you
Yeah.
are and your body, right? But I think most women could probably relate that we've just been taught to, whether it's by our parents, whether it's by
Society?
media.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everything is kind of against women loving the fullness of their expression, because that's exactly when the goddess comes through. And it's dangerous to the organized religions that don't want that to happen, right? So
Absolutely.
they push all these messages, they push chemicals, they push hormones, they push all these awful things in order to stop that from happening. And at the most basic level, you can be like, oh, like, really, why would they do that? Why would they do that? It's because, let's go back to what I was saying in the beginning too, is that it's all occulted. These people are working in the unseen realms, and that's where they operate, and that's where everything originally happens, and that's why we can have effect just with our thoughts.
Yes.
It's all unseen. Like, we actually have so much power. And the people that are working for the darkness, let's say, um they don't want us to know how much control we really have, because and that's why there's so much like kiboshing that seems menial and mundane and not actually going to do anything. But then, you look at most people and they would never recognize it, and that's on purpose.
That's so
Like,
true.
that's the point,
And that's kind of
right?
like where I think a lot of the winter solstice kind of energy seems to hit, is like that Saturnalia. It's the harvesting of, you're really busy, and guess what? We're going to make you even busier. We're going to sell you messages of consumerism. We're going to sell you messages of capitalism. We're going to sell you messages of you need to go, 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 go. And so taking that back from there and really living in your own time. I've even had conversations where I'm like, hey guys, guess what? We're going to do Christmas in January because all of our relatives can't get here until then, and that's just what it's going to be. It's like you can have this eternal Christmas, you can have this eternal winter solstice where you're constantly checking in with yourself and seeing what it's going to take to get to that next level. And most of the time it's simply cleansing your energy, cleansing your mind space, and letting it in. This is also a time of a lot of seasonal depression, so like there's no shortage of people needing some joy, and you can also find that within yourself. But it's like it takes a lot of time, and I think practice, to get to the point where the outside world doesn't bother you. Your inside world is what matters the most. So please don't beat yourself up if you guys are watching this and you're like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to start seeing energies and visualizing, light and stuff? And it's like, honestly, it takes a little bit of time. It takes consistency. It takes working with people
Consistency.
that know what they're doing, and really being a channel for whatever comes through. Sometimes I'll question messages that I get, and then I'll be talking to somebody, and then I'm like, look, I don't know why, but I need to blurt this out. And they're like, how the fuck did you know that? And I'm like, I don't know. spirit told me. And that's
Yeah.
that's another conversation that can be a little bit like, wait, what did you say, who
Yeah.
told you?
Yeah. And the thing is too is that I think the more of your energy that you call back into your field and have and use, the more that these just open up for you naturally. And it's like a blooming effect. And like I said before, it's not an overnight situation. It's you calling your energy back and then going about your daily life and then paying attention to those lucid moments where you're like, okay, I need to say this, or I need to talk to this person, or suddenly this person is talking to me, right? Like it's those sorts of things, because there is a prime mover behind everything, right? That when you have more of your energy available, you become more of a match for the goddess and her harmony, and how she can bring these things to you. It's like she is constantly like rifling and sending good things our way. But if we're like stuck down and we're like, oh my God, something's gonna go wrong, because
Oh
we're looking over
no.
here, then it's just like just passing us by. But she doesn't stop sending it. So it's a matter of just being like, okay, let me shift my attention, and then she brings her attention onto you, and it's like, whoa, like that's when life is really, really lucid. And like I said, also what we were talking about too, like that's when you can also slip into psychosis. And that's why grounding into nature as the goddess allows you to handle her attention
Man,
and use it.
you can just go out on concrete, just go outside, like literally feel the fresh air, feel the sunlight. If you can't
Yeah.
get your bare feet on the grass, it's okay too. But there's just so many ways that you can like even collect rocks when you're outside. If it's from a place that a rock's just in the way, take a rock and hold that in your hands. That's grounding. I have a
Or
rock at
take
the
like a
bottom.
little, what do
Yeah,
I
I was
have
like,
here?
please show all the things.
This on my
Yes.
altar. This from the park that I go to all the
Oh my
time.
God, I love it.
I have like a leaf. Got like a leaf,
That's
I have
amazing.
just these little things that like I collect, and it's like it's not like I go to the park and take something back home with me every day, but it's
Yeah.
like I will see something and I'm like, oh, that needs to come into my house.
Yeah, if
And
it's
it's
already
like,
on the
hey,
ground and you're just like, oh, thank you, I'll take this.
yeah,
I'm also the biggest person to be like, hey, if somebody goes somewhere, just bring me a rock, bring me a thing of dirt, bring me a thing of sand. Then I feel like I have all these different parts of the earth like around.
yeah, well you
But
do. Yeah.
yeah. And like behind me, that's where I have a lot of rocks that my kids have brought me on their trips and stuff too. So it's just so much
Bring
that.
mommy a rock.
Yes, bring
I
mommy a rock. You know, she doesn't
love
want a
it.
hat or any. I used to collect shot glasses, and now I don't really drink that much, except when I like go out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
huh, I don't really think shot glasses are going to be as exciting. But now they can hold rocks, so that's exciting.
There you go. Hmm.
All of my money goes to ornate rocks. It's fine. It's completely normal. But
Actually,
having those types of relationships and having those types of connection with the earth around you is what's going to get people through this time. The sun is only getting more and more strong as we go towards spring equinox. I'm very happy that we were able to create this amazing magazine. There's so much in here, from Vincent van Gogh, like we mentioned, to Empress Atlantis, to Leighton being this clairvoyant, and her
mhm.
her page Psychosomatic. I think we just followed it on the Northern. She's got so many different ways that you can connect with guidebooks. Empress has quizzes you can take and figure out what
Yeah, I
asteroid
was
you
reading that. I
are.
haven't been on her site yet, but I'm going.
Yeah, like I freaking love it. So the more creative that we can get people to show off their talents, and the more people that we can have featured in the magazines, featured in whatever we, do. I don't know where the future is going with the Northern, but I know it's freaking bright because I've got the best editor in the world. You're an animal. I know that we were going to do that. You're an animal. No, you're an
You're an
animal.
animal. Yeah.
It's so
That was
real
so funny. I
though.
saw that video. I was like, literally, that's us. Like,
And if you don't have friends to hype up like that, like what are you even doing? Like I've
yeah.
dreamed of the day that I can collaborate with people with open minds that are specialists in their own spaces and that stay in motion. So if that's something that you guys enjoy, if you are a writer and want to contribute something to the magazine. We are always taking submissions. You can go on to ninthhouse.org, and you can also go to the Northern magazine page, which is on my astrology site, and I will link that in the YouTube comments, and you can get the issue downloaded today. We've had a ton of people downloading it, and I'm so excited to hear feedback. So that's the best part of this whole experience, is people sharing like, oh my gosh, this really hit home.
Yeah.
And we had that with Shadanis, we had that with Laura, we had that with Georgina, and all the people that we've featured in these magazines are incredibly strong. It's the women that seem to be driving this. Like, there's no men in this issue whatsoever.
I know.
And the only person that is in the magazine is the love of my life, and I just referenced him for the photography credits, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like one man's name in here, and we
And
love
then
that
Vincent
man.
Van Gogh, he's just like
Yeah.
Vincent and the
Oh
girls.
yeah, true. Yeah.
I know, it's
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, he didn't really contribute.
no,
Like,
he's not like
just
talk. I mean, he might have said some things. Like, I swear, doing research for his article led me to some very intrinsic parts of astrology as well as humanity. So it was definitely eye opening. And if you guys know someone that we need to feature or showcase, you can always reach out to us too, because that's a huge part of it. We get all of our things from scouring people that we believe in, places that we believe in, and projects we believe in.
yeah, and then having the downloads between the two of us, just being like, oh, this person.
Yes, this person's going to be
But yeah.
perfect. And it's nice because we've been able to create like a little community, and it's growing. It's in the very beginning stages. This is year 2. We are now wrapped with year 2, going into year 3. Mariah's been in every issue, whether she was editor or a contributor. And now it's just great because we get to have you more. So I'm honored.
I love it. I feel so passionate about this edition. I mean, I feel like I say that every time, but like every time,
That's
I feel
okay
like it just
though.
gets better.
It does. It does.
You
So
know?
if you guys are curious about all of our information, I will have it in the YouTube description as well as the links and everything else. So we are going to jump off of here, but we will still have plenty to offer in the upcoming months. I know that you've got stuff going on. I know that your videos, they don't stop. They keep going. It's like, I have never been more inspired to lip sync to things and just have fun with videos again.
I have so much fun.
Oh my gosh, you look like
I
you're
love
having fun. Like, it just looks like a fucking blast.
It is. It's so much fun. I feel like it brings, like, because I mean, I feel like we all did this. I used to take like selfies of myself all the time when I was like 12, 13, like through that whole age. I feel like that's what it's reliving in me. And like, I love it. It makes me feel, I don't know. I have so much fun.
What was that? It was like Dub Smash or something, where you could like make videos going over other people's audio, and that's what that original thing was. And I was obsessed, because it's like, if you can't quote things off the top of your head, are we even going to be friends? Like, we got to have some like mematic interview.
Quote it or learn it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. All right, guys. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We have been going for about 2 hours now, so there's some hidden gems in this for sure, if you guys are looking. All right, everyone, we're going to head out of here, and it was great talking with you. Mariah, thank you so much for joining this incredible issue once again. You're amazing, and I look forward to everything we do next year. Bye, guys.